Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that'll have plot synopsis and character bios for this issue. So we're continuing the Chris Claremont, John Byrne team up on Marvel Team Up. Right now, we're looking at Marvel Team Up number 62 from 1977, featuring Spider Man and Miss Marvel. This takes over from our previous issue, which featured Spider Man and the Human Torch. Showdown with the Super Skrull. Of course, I believe John Byrne was also writing Miss Marvel during that time. So I do have a playlist. It is located under the Spider-Man. So I have a Spider-Man playlist, and this is where I have not just the Marvel tales, but I've been covering some Spider-Mans out there. I also have a Todd McFarlane playlist, which has his Spider-Man run, which I haven't quite migrated to the new or to the Spider-Man one, so you can feel free to check out those. But ultimately, I hope to have all of Spider-Man in one playlist in the future. I'm trying to complete the Todd McFarlane run, and then I'll go back and put those in there. So Chris Claremont is the writer, John Byrne is the penciler, David Hunt here is the inker. This is 77. I think John Byrne is, I believe, on X-Men at this time with Terry Austin here. So alright, so here's the Super Skrull here. You can see him moving this railroad car here. So, your puny machines cannot hide you from the Super Skrull, human, nor can your so-called power save you from my wrath. When I get my hands on you, Spider-Man, says the Super Skrull, I will kill you. And Spider-Man's like, oh, Skrully, I bet you say that to all the guys. So, Marvel was really big on the little nicknames here. So, Skrully and Spidey, Hulky, so basically add a Y. So, and the Super Skrull is, dog of a human, you will not escape me. And Spider-Man's like, I'm not trying to kill, I'm not really trying, Skrully. All I'm doing is keeping you occupied until some high-powered help arrives, he thinks. And so here we have Captain the Wolf, and this guy here says, Cap, they're not coming. Central can't raise the rest of the FF, the Avengers, nobody. And Gene the Wolf here says, oh no, Spidey's on his own down there, and he doesn't even know it. He's as good as dead, she says. So, and Spider-Man's like, the cavalry better arrive soon. I can't keep up this pace much longer. And the Super Skrull says, fool, do you think a mere canister can harm? And suddenly he goes, you. And Spider-Man says, don't say it, Skrully. You'll only spoil both our days. Hey, you're not mad, are you? Spider-Man says. And the Super Skrull, feel free to look through that Marvel fan site if you so would like, get his origin and stuff. He's basically has the power of the Fantastic Four. A product of Skrull science. So he says, my anger is beyond words, human. Let my actions speak for me. And Spider-Man thinks here, what happened? His flame blast petered out before it even got near me. Hey, fella, action's supposed to speak louder than words, remember? Didn't you pay your gas bill? Teases Spider-Man. So, something's affecting the Skrull's flame power. It may have affected all his powers, Spider-Man thinks. So hit the creep and hit him hard. I may never have a good shot at him again. So here you can see Spider-Man hitting him. And so here's a it says here, across the infinite, an asteroid abandoned and forgotten by its makers over the years orbits the Skrull throne world. And you can see here this dish here. The asteroid and its machines have but one purpose, to provide the Super Skrull with all the raw power he needs and more. And so Spider-Man continues thinking, no doubt about it, Skrully's strength has been cut in half. He's still dangerous, but I think I can handle him. And the Skrull says, this must be Richard's doing. As when we first fought, he found a way to block the energy beams that gives me my powers. This was in Fantastic Four 18. By the Black Nebula. And so, wires falling all around us, and they're white hot, says Spider-Man. And so, Spidey looks up, and for once he can't even crack a joke. Above his squared head, miles of power grid glow. And so, good vertical panel here. My God, says Spider-Man. And Spider-Man says, is that the beam that gives Skrully his FF powers from his throne world? Cripes, that energy needed to pull that off. Somehow, the overhead wire grid has set up an interference field between the beam and the Super Skrull. And so the Skrull says, so, it's not a weapon or an attack at all. Only an accident, but even so, one that will cost me dearly, says the Super Skrull. If I let it, and you can see he shoots at the transformer or generator here. That generator, the Skrull beam, is already pushing its way beyond its safety limits. If Skrully blasts it, and then all of a sudden you see that boom. Not used to seeing Spider-Man with all the black here. Spider-Man is normally a character that you don't see too much black other than in the obvious parts, but normally the red isn't very black. But by doing that, it does convey a sense of that something's wrong. So using it on occasion is okay. So here you can see him here. Spider-Man's kind of getting up here. Burying your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man under a few billion tons of rubble. Don't all try to rescue me at once, people. And you see this reporter kind of giving it. Ought to be thankful for his small favors, though. Skrully must have figured the explosion did me in. I almost wish it had. And Captain DeWolf goes, Spider-Man, how can a body hurt so much and still be alive? He says. Glad to see you made it, Wallcrawler. I could tell. Back off, mister. It's only been minutes since the Skrull burned out of here through the bodies of my men. And so Spider-Man says, sorry, I guess that means I've still got work to do. How about a free ride into the war zone as he uses his web to hang on to that helicopter. All right, I'll radio the chopper pilot to take you out there, out to sea, toward that liner in the upper bay. Thanks. I think. One more thing, lady. When I get back, if I get back, remind me to have my head examined. Sure thing, friend, says Captain DeWolf. And Spidey, this is one I owe you. And so it says here about 5 miles away, here comes the Skrull. And here, of course, we find Carol Danvers, who we saw shortly on the previous issue here. And this guy says, Carol, that flame, a missile hit the ship. And she says, not a missile, Daniel, a man. And no lightweight either. Take a look. He punched through the hull as if it were made out of cardboard. This is actually a good drawing of showing of a crushed hull. It's actually pretty cool. And so here, Super Skrull goes in to their rooms here and it says here renders them unconscious because of course we're not gonna kill. So my entrance rendered these humans unconscious, he says as he's using this thing here. No matter. My tri-scanner has led me to the prize I seek. The strongest readings I've ever seen. Led me to this clay figurine. What I seek must be hidden inside. And so, you can see this crystal here. Yes, he says. The crystal is mine. And with it, the stars. And so he walks out here. For this tiny gem is the basic power catalyst of a matter-antimatter star drive. Now that I can possess it, I can construct a starship. And when I leave, I shall destroy this mudball Earth and all who live upon it. Once more, I shall return to my home world in triumph. And so Captain Marvel is kind of hiding here, and she says, "Managed to give Daniel the slip. Holla, it's the Super Scroll." And so the Super Scroll notices and goes, "By the seven moons, that light, do the humans still wish to do battle?" And of course, not human scroll, just one human, and her name is Miss Marvel. By the way, I really do like this costume, this version of Miss Marvel. And here it looks like his head is almost backwards. So, as she punches the Super Scroll here, "I do not understand. You call yourself human, yet you wear the uniform of the cursed Kree. The uniform patterned after that thrice damned Captain Marvel." And you can see he hits him with both the Thing and Reed Richards' powers. "We have a lot in common." And then she goes, "Watch it." Ugh. And buck as she's hit. "Not the least of which is a soul-deep hatred of Skrulls." And she punches him in the groin, and I love that sound. Shabow. And so he pushes her through the floor. They're going to destroy that ship. So "You should have better learned your place, woman," says the Super Skrull. "Even the weakest Skrull warrior is more than a match for such as you." And so Miss Marvel goes, "First round to him, that's for sure. At least that last punch cleared my head. Whatever my Kree heritage is, it definitely has its drawbacks. Never felt such hatred," she thinks here. And so she punches him. "Can't worry about that, though. I have my hands full just staying alive." It makes sense that the Skrull is most vulnerable, mimicking Mr. Fantastic. That's when I've got to let him have it. And so, "Hit him, then hit him again. Stay out of the reach of his Thing hands, and don't give him a moment's grace." But she's going to pick up that crystal here. And so she takes her eyes off him. Um, and so she says that Cavorite crystal, it's like the one NASA's experimenting, but with their crystal is crude. This is refined, perfect. What would the Skrull do with the awesome power in this? The Skrull I've forgotten all about. How can you forget about him? So, a splow. And so you can see him just punching her through. So that's pretty cool. And she ends up all the way to, oh goodness, he didn't punch her for 5 miles. And so um she gets her just in time for Spider-Man to get to the ship. Goodness gracious. So um let's see. Oh, he catches her. He catches her. So I thought, wait a minute. What the heck? Okay. I don't think that the Statue of Liberty is 5 miles away, but and he, all right, whatever. We're gonna just keep going with it. So, all right. So Spider-Man rescues her and brings her up, and he says, "Hey, you're a girl. The term is woman, friend, but you've got the right idea." And so Spider-Man says, oh no, Miss Marvel says, "We haven't much time. As soon as the Skrull realizes I've got the crystal, he'll be after me with a vengeance. Your description of the effect of that electric grid had on his powers intrigues me. It gives me an idea, but you'll have to keep the Skrull occupied until I'm ready, Spider-Man. Can you do it? I'm afraid there's some risk involved." So, and Spider-Man says, "No kidding." And the Skrull here, "Where is she? Where is Miss Marvel? My tri-scanner indicates the crystal is still aboard this ship, and so is she. By the Black Nebula, have I stood enough?" And all of a sudden he goes, "Oof!" As Spider-Man puts the web. Splat. Ah, I love these sound effects. And Spider-Man says, "Hi there, remember me?" "Spider-Man, I should have slain you when I had the chance." "Hey, Skrully, anyone ever tell you're a one-track mind?" "I guess not. Bye now," he says. "I want the crystal, human." "Come and get it," says Spider-Man. So, and he thinks you're good, like Miss Marvel and I had planned. Skrully's following me into the ship, where my wall-crawling abilities and agility count for more than his raw powers. So, you can see him using the Human Torch's flame, And he gets down here. Yow, better get the lead out too. That was a little too close for comfort, he says. From the sounds of things, Uh, Spidey's leading the scroll a merry chase. All right, and here you can see her grabbing some rope. The deeper into the ship they go, the less chance there is of innocent passengers getting hurt. Then again, you're assuming the scroll won't risk losing his crystal in the Atlantic by simply blasting the ship apart around us. A calculated risk, but that's what war is all about. And make no mistake, like it or not, this is war, she says. Hopefully, this grid I'm weaving will duplicate what happened in the train yards on a much larger, yet more concentrated scale. With the seemingly limitless power of that broadcast being behind him, the scroll is more than a match for any lone superhero. It won't be easy, even though I'll be running the full power of the ship's generators through the grid. A beam capable of spanning intergalactic space won't be held back for long. Our best bet is to try to jam the beam, cutting the scroll's power back to a level Spidey and I can handle. So, of course, if the Avengers were to show up, the next few minutes of life would be marvelous. And so, this guy's wondering what she's doing, and she basically is letting him know, and she's not going to stop to, she's got to save them. So, and so they're in the ship sewer here. And so Spider sense tingles, which of course means a Super Skrull is there. And so here he is. And he is, so got to wait till the last instant. If I miss, those hands get a hold of me. That's a spirit. Big ears. Closer, closer. And then all of a sudden, clang! So Spider-Man hits him hard. Wherever you are, Dumbo, I hope it hurts. Well, I made it to the ship's car park deck. Miss Marvel, like we agreed. In one piece, too. I've done the best I can, lady, if you're not ready. And so here comes the Super Skrull. The game is ended, human insect. Arachnid, if you please. We spider-sensitive, or types are sensitive souls. And so he goes through, and here's Captain Marvel. We meet again, Skrull, for the last time. I have your precious crystal. And he says, I shall take it from your corpse. Woman, if you think to trap me here, you are a fool, she says. Of all you humans, only Reed Richards had the genius to overcome my power, and much has changed since then. You are but a lone woman masquerading as a warrior. Look, even your companion deserts you, and you dare think you can defeat the Super Skrull as he tries to hit her, but she evades him. No, I can't go through with this, Miss M. You need my help. I'm staying. And she says, I need you to do as you're told. Get out of here, Spidey. Seal the hatch behind you and throw the switch. It's done, lady. I only pray you know what you're doing. So, she basically energizes this, kind of making the own generator. And so they feel that the Skrull feels himself weakening, and she's gonna try to overtake him, but he punches her. He says, I'm far from beaten. And so she picks up this car here and is gonna toss him at him, hoping to slow him down. Your strength does not impress me, woman, he says, for even now mine is greater. And so ouch, she says. We underestimated the Skrull's power. Somehow years of exposures to the broadcast beam must have transformed most of his artificial powers into real ones. For all my Kree abilities, I still can't match him. He may kill me before we can spring the trap. Wait, the crystal. Where Spider-Man hid it? It's glowing. Some of the beam's energies is already slipping past the grid, triggering the crystal's warp matrix, priming the crystal to throw everything around it into warp space. Good. And so all the crystal needs to complete the process is a sudden massive influx of energy, namely the dammed up near infinite power of the Skrull's beam suddenly released. You want this stricken so badly, Skrull, then have it. Spider-Man, cut the jamming field now. And so he does it. And suddenly that thing basically does what she explained. And of course, Chris Claremont is going to fill that up all with words. But the scroll is gone, and Spider-Man calls out. She doesn't answer, so he eventually breaks the door open, and once he sees her, he asks about the scroll, and Miss Marvel says he's gone. The crystal opened a doorway into word space, then pulled the scroll through. As I knew it would. I went through something like this not long ago. I'm still not sure how I survived either. You see now why I had to face the scroll alone while you pulled the switch. Look at this thing, Spidey. So beautiful, it takes my breath away. A million facets with a million separate images of Miss Marvel. So this concludes our issue here. Next, you can see who it's gonna be, but Iron Fist. Marvel Team Up 62, John Byrne and Chris Claremont, or should I say Chris Claremont and John Byrne. Like and subscribe. I do thank you for listening. Goodbye.